Okay, example 3 is nothing too new. What we're going to do is use our previous two graphs and describe what's called the domain and the range. Now, those terms don't fit too well, at least thinking of real life applications. So, how I like to think of these is, and you want to write these on here. Domain is the X stuff, and the range is the Y stuff. That'll get you through what you need to know. Okay, so let's go back to looking at our graph for this one right here. Y equals 3 to the x power. That was back in example 1. So you could look here or look in your graph, but this is what the y to the equals 3 to the x power came out like, something like this. Now, before we start here, just let's notice a couple things. First of all, as this arrow goes to the left, it gets really, really super small, but it never crosses below the x-axis. This one right here is going to keep going up like this, so it's going to get super high, but it can keep going forever. It's just that the y values are going to be absolutely huge. So it does keep going forever. So here's what we're going to write. We can see from the graph of this function in example 1 that y equals 3x is defined for all x values. We'll write something like that. Here's the important part. It's got y values that are only greater than 0 because it never goes below the y-axis. So this domain, or as we are going to put right at the x values or the x stuff, since it goes forever, to the left, and it's a little hard to see, but it's going to go forever and ever to the right, what we're going to say is that the domain or the x stuff is all real numbers. But the difference with the range, the y stuff, is since it never dips below 0, we're going to call it all positive real numbers. Now, the only way you can see these is to have the graph drawn. You're not going to be able to see it by looking at this y equals 3 to the x power. Doing the second one, let's take a look at our graph back from example 2, and you can look above. In this graph, there's some similarities. If you notice, the line, and it's sort of left, sort of, and a lot more up here, but it's going to get really big, but it is going to eventually cover all numbers to the left. And here it's a little easier to see. This thing never crosses below the x-axis, even though it's going to be really, really, really close. That goes as far as you can to the right. So this is pretty similar to the last one. So this graph is defined for all x values, but here's the important part. Let's find that, actually, let's add this in here too. It has y values that are greater than 0. So the domain is, again, just look here. It goes as far as it can to the left and as far as it can to the right. And that means that we're talking about all real numbers when we talk about the domain or the x values. And then the range is all, again, because it's over 0, it's going to be all positive real numbers.